All right, that was really the not really. We got a little bit more of like smart stuff to watch, and then we got the last stuff. We're probably not gonna watch this Diddy thing today, but we got this, and then we got some brain rot after it. So this is how a nuclear war will start, minute by minute. Now, I do like watching I don't know, I never learned how to pronounce their name, but I like watching their videos. This is a channel that I watch the Is the Future Happening All at Once. They pretty neat stuff. And I'd love to know how I'm about to live in Fallout.
Mr. President, nuclear missiles will strike our country in 14 minutes.
This 3D is
I know
insane.
it's your first day in office, so I'm going to walk you through it, but you're the only one who can authorize our nuclear retaliation in response, and you've only got a few minutes to make a decision. As you know, tensions have escalated rapidly in the past few days. Today's Joint Allied Aerial Defense exercise began just minutes before we detected the launch. A simple misunderstanding, maybe. We assume the sudden attack is meant to neutralize as many of our nuclear forces as possible. But that doesn't matter now. Missiles are in the air, and we can't shoot all of them down. Why? Because intercontinental ballistic missiles are basically rockets launched into space before re-entering the atmosphere over their target and releasing many different warheads. Higher and faster than anything you can send after them.
Oh,
We need to get...
so it's like in gamer terms, it's like if I jump out of the map and then jump back in when I'm ready to attack. But I attack before I come back in. Gotcha.
you to the bunker. Here's what we know. 4 minutes ago, our new infrared monitoring satellites detected 112 bursts consistent with ICBM launches from the enemy's inner territories. For some reason, only 20 of their 80 underground nuclear silos seem to have fired, so we suspect most of them were transporter erector launchers. You know, trucks with big missiles on them. It's unclear why they didn't use all their silos. They might just not work after more than 30 years, or they might be keeping them in reserve. The fog of war is keeping many things unclear. Aerospace Command thinks the ICBMs are targeting our nuclear command centers, silos, and major Air Force and Navy bases, ending this war before we have a chance to act. The enemy's strategic doctrine prioritizes military targets and our nuclear weapon systems, but their secondary targets are our industry and infrastructure, all refineries, power stations, and deep water ports, all located near or in major population centers.
If we had a, if this actually happened, and I guess we wouldn't know until last second, right? We wouldn't know until the nukes are already barreling down onto us. But, you know, what the fuck am I about to do? You know what I mean? If I make it, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna live and whatnot, but if it happens, I can't be hey man, stop it. Chill out. I feel like we should just get into the habit of having our world leaders get into a boxing ring. You know what I mean? Yeah, get into that gladiatorial era. Have us just fight it out like real warriors.
We won't know the exact casualty count for a few weeks. Deaths from the blast and burns may be a few million today. It's morning rush hour, and there's not much to be done for people stuck in traffic. People in major metro areas can't really evacuate, but emergency broadcasts are being sent out to shelter in place and away from windows. Radiation exposure for intact
excuse me. That would be terrifying. I hate Roadhog. Yeah, really is the GOAT. But that's terrifying. Imagine just all of a sudden, and you just gotta be ah, damn. Like that. Imagine if it happened right now, midstream. I have nowhere to go. That's why one day I'm gonna get me a bunker. May not be today or tomorrow, but I'm gonna get me a bunker one day. It's gonna be so nice.
Population centers is highly dependent on the weather over the next week. We might be looking at dozens of millions of deaths by the end of the month. For the next few minutes, we can still respond. But you need to decide. We've got 1,500 warheads across our silos, bombers, and submarines. The 400 in silos need to be launched now before they get taken out. 46 nuclear-capable bombers on high alert can be ready to take off in 2 minutes, though we need to transmit the order right away to get them out of the blast radius if you want to consider using them. Of our 40 nuclear submarines, 5 are presently at sea. While they're submerged, they're undetectable, so that's our backup for a nuclear retaliation if we lose our silos and bombers. We could try to use them to bomb out their remaining silo fields before they can launch them. The sooner you commit to it, the better the chance we have of preventing a further exchange after our retaliation. Updates. We have radar confirmation that the enemy ICBMs have completed their burn and deployed their warheads. Our best guess is that each missile will deploy at least 6 re-entry vehicles, about 600 in total, which is the part that carries a warhead back into the atmosphere during its terminal descent onto the target, and with many more decoys on top of that, inflatable balloons meant to waste any anti-missiles. We're now tracking nearly 4,000 potential targets. Our anti-ballistic missiles have been launched and will begin their intercept in another minute. We'll do our best to protect the capital, although there really is no defense. Wait, confirming a partial radar blackout. Our systems seem to be glitchy. The enemy must...
You notice how they made the president black so I can really immerse myself in this plot? I love it.
Confirming a partial radar blackout. Our systems seem to be glitchy. The enemy must have anticipated we'd launch our interceptors and pre-detonated a few warheads at high altitude. That ionizes the atmosphere and creates radar interference. Our interceptors should still operate okay. They've had a 55...
Well, damn, who's this other nation, bro? Can I join their team? They said they got everything planned out, bro. Can I join them? They must got like Superman over there or something. Like, we must be beefing with like Lex Luthor. They had everything planned. Maybe we're the villains.
% success rate in tests, but never with this many decoys or with radar interference this intense. We might shoot down 50 objects, but there's no guarantee they're warheads. It looks like most bombs are going to get through. This is our last chance to counterattack. We're out of time. Our silo launch sequence takes 5 minutes. We have to transmit and confirm a launch order, and the missile needs time to clear the blast radius of the incoming bomb. This is a lot to take in, but the war plan is made. You just need to enter the launch authorization codes and push this button to transmit them. You can't do anything else to save more of our people. If you don't launch now, then this war will be over before it even begins. You understand, this is our one chance, right? The effect? Enemy civilian casualties are hard to estimate, but should be...
This little thing turned green screen. That's kind of cool. But I mean, like at this point, what else am I gonna do? I gotta launch it back. Pause.
Similar to ours, a few million right away, perhaps a few tens of million by the end of the month. The total fallout from their attacks and ours might trigger a nuclear winter, potentially killing billions around the world, but that might happen even if we don't retaliate. I'm sure you have questions, but you have to give orders without expecting answers right now. With an attack of this scale, there's no guarantee communications or assets will be intact in a few minutes. We're out of time. We need a decision, sir. Can we launch?
Yes, launch.
Nuclear wars aren't regular wars. They only last minutes, and in times of crisis, small conflicts can rapidly spiral out of control. Anything from small communication lags to sensor errors to just uncertainty in the fog of war mean that no leader will ever have a complete idea of what's happening as a crisis unfolds. When tensions are high, accidents or misunderstandings can steer leaders, even those with good intentions, to launch a nuclear attack. Confused and with incomplete information, a single person, yes, it's really just one single person who decides, can literally make civilization-ending decisions, killing hundreds of millions of people in the time it takes to watch a YouTube video.
That's crazy.
This story is fiction, but the world came very close to this.
You know that like now that we got like the day and age of like the internet, there's gonna be someone that runs for president and becomes president just to launch a nuke because they're such a hater. You know it's gonna happen, right? It's like the more we exist with the internet, the more we have the chance of it coming to pass.
Several times. In 1995, Russian radar detected a submarine-launched missile, and their nuclear forces went on full alert, except it was actually a scientific rocket to study auroras. In 1979, US computers reported a full-scale Soviet attack with only minutes to respond, except it was a training tape being incorrectly loaded into a computer.
Damn,
in 1983,
I would
the Soviet satellite alert system
Oh my god, I would have been
5...
so mad if I had to go live in Fallout because some niggas wanted to play Star Fox 64 by accident on their TV. That would piss me off, man.
ICBMs launched from the US, but it was a false alarm caused by sunlight reflected on clouds. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, a Soviet submarine with no contact to Moscow for several days concluded that nuclear war had begun and decided to launch a nuclear torpedo. Luckily, the authorization of 3 officers was required. One of them, Vasily Arshipov, opposed it. But what if he hadn't? Any safeguard can fail no matter how carefully designed it might be. and decisions are being made right now to build new weapons and missile systems that commit the world to another century of nuclear stalemate, complicated further by China's emergence as a new nuclear superpower. Simply accepting that the existence of nuclear weapons is inevitable might mean their use is inevitable. But the world doesn't have to be this way. Even incremental.
I mean, don't we have to have like a stalemate when it comes to our weaponry? Because if we don't, that's how certain nations will take over power. It's not like kind of like how we have to operate. I wanted to report on the Cuban Missile Crisis. This really was that close. That's insane. Well, good on the dude that didn't do it. Good on him. Be a trailblazer, not a follower. That's a good message. But like, I feel like we would have to, right? We would have to always kind of keep up. Because if we didn't, we'll just fall behind, and then they would just be like, "Hey, man, give me that," and then we'd be like, "No." We'd be like, "Okay, I put a nuke on the Switch. Goodbye." Back.
Steps taking apart one bomb at a time will eventually result in a world with none. During the Cold War, the world had over 70,000 nuclear weapons. Through arms reduction treaties, that number is now about 12,500. Progress is not guaranteed, but it's also not impossible. Governments and militaries are not separate from their nations, they're part of them, just like you. You have the power to make demands of your leaders, and often this begins with just being aware of an issue. If you want to learn more, we've compiled a number of resources for you in the video description and our sources. This video was supported by...
Alright, that was cool. I feel like we need nukes. I would rather all of us not have them, but like, the odds of all of us being like, "Okay, let's put them down, we're done, guys, no more nukes." It's gonna be so hard to do that we're gonna at least have like, there's gonna be, even if we all drop the all of our nukes, there's gonna be one country that kept one nuke. It was like, just in case. You never know, you know. And then one day they're gonna get into a fight with somebody like, "Hey, yeah, nuke, what the fuck, what is that?" And then we're fucked. But that was interesting.